it. So I said, okay, that sounds good. So we went out there and we opened up so the water went out and everything. And you could sit on Merv's deck there, and there's a long pond. And you can see the dam on the end of it. Well, he had, I think it was a 270 if I remember right. Well, we had a beer and sitting on the table on that deck. And what it reminded me the most of is you've been to those shooting galleries where they have ducks that go like this. And you try to shoot these ducks. You know what I'm talking about? Well, these were beaver. You would start on one side of the pond, go across, and we shoot a couple times at it, and it'd go to the other side. And then it would swim back. Well, it got dark in no time, and we were in no condition to really shoot anymore anyway. But we had a heck of a good time, and that's my story about Merv. Everybody hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. I'll start the mic here. Anybody? Okay, here we go.
Up here.
Okay.
Read something.
Okay.
First off, thank you all for being here. What I look out and I see these faces of people who are so important in my dad's life, and it warms my heart, and I'm so grateful to have grown up in this community and know all of you and share your experiences. Grateful to have had Merv and Crystal for my father and mother, and so thank you for coming today. It means a lot to me. So I'm going to read something here, or try to, a poem that was written, unfortunately, by an unknown source, and kind of tells me how I feel, and I think invokes a little bit of my dad in here. I heard your voice in the wind today, and I turned to see your face. The warmth of the wind caressed me as I stood silently in place. I felt your touch in the sun today. As its warmth filled the sky, I closed my eyes for your embrace, and my spirit soared high. I saw your eyes in the window pane as I watched the falling rain. It seemed as each teardrop fell, it quietly said your name. I held you close in my heart today. It made me feel complete. You may have died, but you are not gone. You will always be a part of me. As long as the sun shines, the wind blows, the rain falls, you will live on inside of me, for that is what my heart knows. And lots of stories about my dad. I think everyone's old enough here, I can probably tell someone, but I won't. Okay. Well, there, I read the poem and no one heard it. Want me to read again? So anyway, I just look back, and I think some of the fond memories, that I have were certainly as he got older, myself and my brother, and sometimes my wife and various other people, my daughter or my nephews, would take my dad to Pine Lake Sportsman's Lodge, which was always fun. And we'd go up there, and I said I was going to pay this time. And I'm similar, I'm son of Merv, I'm a little bit conservative with the spending of my money. And so as I'm fumbling with my wallet to pay, he said, be careful, those moths are going to come flying out. So you talk about a Merv gotcha moment. You really don't have a comeback for that. You're I think I said, yeah, I'm your son. But anyway, that was always kind of special to go up there and be with him and play pull tabs. And one time we bought, I think, $60 worth of pull tabs. It's a lot of pull tabs. And we're pulling, and we're not winning anything, and we're pulling, and we're looking. He's got one left, and he pulls it. And he kind of gets this little shit-eating grin on his face. And Jack catches it before I do. It's like, what'd you get? $150. And he was so happy when he could win some money like that when he was gambling. So we paid for our meal, some drinks, and had change left over. So that's just the kind of guy he was. He was just easy to be around, very, 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 very comfortable individual to be around. And another story I have, and this will be my last one, is Tom Swan and I did a lot of hunting with my dad. And kind of the scenario was is you'd go out in the morning and hunt ducks. And after you hunted ducks in the morning, you'd go out and chase grouse. And so we're done duck hunting, and Dad's driving, Tom's in the middle, and I'm on the end. And I see Dad digging around his coat. He says, oh, he says, some cigarettes. We're going to have to go back to town. Tom and I are like, well, we'll come back out and hunt, won't we? Because we were, you know, at that time we were a long way from town, probably 12 miles. Times have changed. And so he says, no, we'll go back to town, that'll be it for the day. I'm like, oh, shit. And Tom and I both smoke. But we're both underage. And so I kind of give Tom a little nudge like that. Tom kind of gets it and he says, well, you know, Merv, I just started smoking. I don't really like it, but I've got some cigarettes here if you want them. And so we got to go grouse hunting the rest of the day. Do you think he was surprised that either of us smoked? He knew damn well we both smoked. So anyway, I just want to thank you all. It warms my heart. What a great place to have grown up in this community. All these wonderful people that were so important in my life and my dad's life, my family's life. So thank you all very much.
Any other family members that would like to come up and share? Come on up. So I'll give you the mic.
Oh. All right. Thanks for coming out tonight, folks. It's going to be a grand speech, trust me. I'm Josh, I'm Jack's son, Merv's grandson, and I just wanted to tell a story. It's going to be a hunting story. That's probably not a surprise to any of you that know me. This is quite a few years back. It's actually a story about the deer he shot down there in the lower left-hand corner. And it was getting towards the end of the deer season. It might have even been the last day. And me and my dad are out driving the four-wheeler around, just taking heaters out of the stands and everything. And we go down and check out a field, and we're cruising by, and Dad goes, there's a buck. There's a big buck just sitting in the woods. And I'm like, okay, well, you're full of shit. There's no deer in there. That's ridiculous. And he's like, no, there's a big buck out there. We gotta go get Grandpa. So we spin around, cruise up to the house, and it's like, Grandpa, grab the gun, let's go. And he's like, you guys are ridiculous. It's the last day of season, and Dad's like, no, it's a big buck, we gotta go shoot it. So Grandpa gets on a four-wheeler and throws the gun in, and we toolie on over there, and well, now we gotta execute this plan. How are we gonna get Grandpa to shoot this buck that's down the hill, and we saw him when we were driving by. We don't know if he's there anymore. And we think of this great idea. How about we, Dad will drive the four-wheeler, I'll sit on the back of it, and Grandpa needs to be in a quick position to get a shot off. So let's put an 80-year-old man on the front of a four-wheeler with a loaded gun as we're driving down the hill. And the plan is to, when we see the deer, we're going to stop. This 80-year-old man is going to hop off the front of the four-wheeler and proceed to take a shot through the trees at this big buck. Well, the plan ended up working, not without some problems along the way, of course. So we're cruising up, and Dad goes, there he is, I can see him. He's in the woods there. And Grandpa's like, I have no idea, there's no buck there. And no, it's right there, I can see it. And sure enough, soon he hops off the four-wheeler and takes a shot, and we hear just crashing going down through the woods, and well, apparently Grandpa's a pretty good shot. And yeah, to date, I think that might have been the biggest buck that we had shot on that property. It's pretty crazy to think that 10 years after that, he was able to harvest his biggest buck, but that's my story about Grandpa. So, thank you.
Any other family members want to say anything? Okay.
I'm not going to stand up.
Then we could have word quick.
It was that Christmas Eve this year. Sit down. I was out at Jill's for supper, Merv was there, and I looked at him and I said, you know, Merv, we didn't make it, but we got 4 great kids.
Yeah.
And we have.
I've said the same thing. Okay, Merv stories. Do it first?
Sure. I'm Kent Cease, part of the Cease clan. I probably should stand up here. First of all, I'd like to thank Mike for helping today. Very nice job. Thank you, Mike. Very nice. So, the Ceases and the Wallingfords go back 4 generations, so we're kind of joined at the hip. And we'd like to, I mean, what a living legacy for Merv and your family. Wonderful. So, you guys can be so proud. You were a blessing to him, and he was a blessing to you. So, and thank you for sharing with him with us. Merv was a great mentor. He was a great teacher. We learned a lot of things about the outdoor world. My dad probably learned a lot of things about the outdoor world. Without Merv as a mentor, I wouldn't be the hunter and fisherman today. And he's got a great family. 2 girls, a boy, and then Jack. I think of Merv, and then you think of Jack, and it's Merv on steroids. Jack idolized his dad. Where are you doing? Oh, there, you idolized your dad. I mean, growing up, back in 1970, we kept this note from Merv. It was a permission slip to go fishing with the Cease boys on Lake Lamont. We taped it in our cabinet at home, and that's kind of where it all started. And it's been a great journey, for sure, for many, many years. Getting back to Jack, Merv outdid himself with Jack. Merv was the best fisherman, technique-wise, the best hunter, technique-wise, planning. He did everything just right. Merv was just that way. Well, Jack, if Merv shot a 10-point buck, Jack always shot a 12-point buck. If Merv caught a 20-pound walleye, Jack would catch a 21-pound walleye. I mean, northern, I should say. So, but it was always fun, and Jack was so obedient with his dad. If Merv told him to do something, it was done. He never questioned it. So our friendship is through, my perspective is kind of through Jack to his dad, so, and his grandpa. They're a very close family. So I think Merv probably taught Jack how to clean one fish, and Jack perfected it from there. Gutting deer was a whole different story. Jack, if his dad told him to gut the deer in 3 minutes, he did it in 2.5 minutes. And we still, to this day, use that technique. Pull and cut. Pull and cut. And Jack,
cut and pull.
Cut and pull. Cut and pull. And Jack's name would always come up. I'm just glad Jack's not a surgeon. That's all. So we have lots of great stories. I'm a better person because of Merv. We all journeyed through life, and we're very thankful for his life. So,
Amen.
Thank you.
Sure.
And I don't really need this, I don't think. They tell me I'm a big mouth. I'm Robin McElkey, and I guess I grew up in Bagley, a block away from the Wallingford, so I've known him my whole life. And I have so many wonderful memories of Merv and the hunting and fishing and everything. And he always said, Jack, we'd always take, when you guys all went out west hunting, we'd always take your dad's truck. And he always said, Jack drives my truck like he stole it. He doesn't drive his truck that way, but he always drives my truck like he stole it. Anyway, my parents aren't here today, and they send their wishes and thoughts and prayers with the whole family.
you know, they're doing pretty well considering. But my dad and Merv were hunting, fishing buddies for 60 years. And so, yeah, we've known them, you know, I've known them my whole life. And I left Bagley, you know, 45 years ago, I realized. And but the times I come back have always been to do something with the Wallingfords, whether it be hunting or fishing. Steve and I have a story about hitting a deer with 2 open bottles of beer in North Dakota. Yeah, you know, so that statute of limitations, I think, is out. But and some of these pictures I took and they're in my boat. So I mean, I have those kind of memories. And he was, as Ken said, I think I'm a better person for Merv and the Wallingford family. And I know my dad. I don't think he could have got through today. But I could tell stories forever, so I'm not going to do that. But there are a couple pretty good ones. You know, Jack remember this one. I'll remember we were up in Oak Lake, Ontario, and Merv was the best darn camp cook.
Amen.
I mean, anybody argue with that? He was cooking up something. It might have been one of his boiled dinners or something we were doing. And Jack and I were futzing around, casting, fishing off the rock. And Dad came down and said, you know, show us how to do it. And I think my first cast, he catches, I don't know how big it was. And to me, it must have been 40 pounds, but it wasn't that big. But anyway, it was a big northern that he got on there. And Jack was on one side of the landing net. We looked at that fish as it come in, and we said, you know, and Merv, crazy, and we looked and said, this fish is not going to fit in this landing net. So we got one on either side of it. Merv's pulling, and we scoop it up together, and we grab it and get in that, because we know it's going right through this thing, and we drag it up the rock about 15 or 20 feet so it doesn't go back in the water. So, and like I said, I've got 1,000 more of those stories. But again, I think all of us that knew him hunted, were lucky enough to hunt and fish with him. You know, he had a big impact on our lives. So I'll never forget that. And this morning with my parents, we sat around coffee, and my dad's struggling to try to decide if he could make it or not. And we told one story after another, and thought about it, and we laughed. And laughing about those stories is probably the best medicine I can think of. So, amen.
Thank you. Anybody else? Don't be bashful.
I'll go up here.
I'll tell.
I beat you.
All right.
It was faster. I'm Kevin Cease, Cease Boys. I greet you on behalf of my father today too. He would just do anything to be here with you guys. And Merv and Wayne were, that's a whole nother chapter. So, but I just want to let you know, it's been shown time and time again in study after study that when you have somebody who you're not related to, that you get close to, that's not a family member, and you grow up with them, your life is innumerably blessed, and it's so much better. And Merv was that for us. We are raised by our neighborhood. Our neighborhood, we just went from house to house, and Merv helped us, shape us as we've been. He taught us that you work hard and you play hard, are always honest, don't lie, because he's going to figure it out anyway, right? And he also taught me the value of showing up if you're going to eat, because he's cooking, and he was a great cook, an amazing cook. You need to show up or you're not going to have enough food, because of all of the Cease Boys and Jack and all of us, we're eating it all. So you show up early and you'll get, and the cook always eats best, right? Isn't that what we always learn too? So yeah, right. And that he also taught me that if you have patience and a 300 Savage and a couple of cigarettes, you will shoot a deer. He sat in that swamp stand all those years, and he always pulled a deer out of there, and I just was so amazed by that. I just, wow. And the thing that he clearly taught me that I'll end with is that he taught me by example, never by words, how to be a man. And he did that with no words. He did it by living. And that's the legacy that I get to share. Thank you.
I would like to hear the story about what you did to your dad. You took the paint off of Mervin's boat. I was a sea boy, by the way.
It wasn't me.
You can ask him about it later. No, it wasn't Kevin, it was you remember what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
My name's Keith Rickey. My brother, twin brother Kevin, I grew up in Bagley, the twins. And I'll be honest, I really didn't know Mervin really well other than at the Deer Shack. And Kevin, I was going to say 300 Savage cigarettes and coffee.
Yes.
But I didn't know a whole lot about Mervin. I actually didn't realize, Korean War service. My dad didn't talk about his service much. You don't ask veterans about their service out of respect. They'll tell you if they want to. But the thing I remember, Mervin had a gentle mentoring way, and we figured out he was the camp cook right away. I never realized it was because he was a good cook. I always thought it was because he was the only one willing to do it and keep us from starving. But we picked up his stories, and as a young kid, my dad would give us 410 single shots, and we'd be seen in the deer stand. And the first mentoring lesson I ever gave was my dad would give us shot shells and slugs. You shoot a deer or you shoot grouse. And I remember shooting 3 grouse that unfortunately landed in a tree by my deer stand. And like the first lesson Merv gave me was how to clean ruffed grouse, how to clean them up. And I always, as a young 11-year-old, 12-year-old, looked up to Mervin and his gentle mentoring style. And as you learn in a deer shack, I hope people that are not deer hunters, you probably won't get any of this stuff. But there's a division of labor. Our role was to wash dishes and push deer out of the woods to the camp elders. And, walk kid, put your compass up, go north. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm not this deer hunting, it's not so much fun. And the thing about Mervin was, the Seas boys, all the old hunters had these Remington Jam-O-Matics. You had to get the right magazine on it, and every morning grabbing the red wool jacket, finding the magazines, and Merv was the only one that had this old Savage 99. It always stuck into me that it always worked, and they didn't jam. But I remember one of those deer drives coming out, and all of a sudden this deer runs out, and Merv, boom, deer just rolls. And I was like, wow.